Welcome to Robinson's Shadow Stories, where mysteries unfold and dark tales come to light. Dive into the enigmatic world of true crime with our meticulously researched stories, chilling reconstructions, and in-depth investigations. From unsolved mysteries to infamous cases, join us as we navigate the labyrinth of crime, uncovering the secrets that linger in the shadows. Brace yourself for a riveting journey through the minds of our most famous serial killers, true crime stories and cautionary stories about couples who become obsessed in their relationships, that one of them is willing to commit a terrible crime in the name of love. The twists that keep you on the edge of your seat. Subscribe now and become a part of our community of armchair detectives, because the truth is always stranger than fiction. This journey isn't solitary, it's a collective exploration. I want to hear your thoughts, theories, and suggestions. Drop your comments below, share your insights, and let's form a community that dives headfirst into the shadows. Together we'll navigate the complexities of these stories one shadow at a time. So let's dive in. Today's story is about self-made psycho H.H. Holmes. He had his own murder castle. Herman Webster Mudgett, born May 16, 1861, better known as Dr. Henry Howard Holmes or H.H. Holmes, was an American con artist and serial killer active between 1891 and 1894. Holmes had engaged in a lengthy criminal career that included insurance fraud, forgery, swindling, 3 to 4 bigamous illegal marriages, horse theft and murder. His most notorious crimes took place in Chicago around the time of the World's Columbian Exposition in 1893. Meyer attended Fort Zumwalt Public Schools, including Pheasant Point Elementary School and Fort Zumwalt West Middle School, 7 in nearby O'Fallon, Missouri. Megan befriended the popular girls so that the boys who picked on her would stop. Despite his confession of 27 murders, including some people who were verifiably still alive, one Holmes was convicted and sentenced to death for only one murder, that of business partner and accomplice Benjamin Petitzel. It is believed he also killed 3 of Petitzel's children, as well as 3 mistresses, the child of one mistress, and the sister of another. Holmes concerns the so-called Murder Castle, a 3-story building he commissioned in Chicago. Details about the building, along with many of his alleged crimes, are considered exaggerated or fabricated for sensationalistic tabloid pieces, with some accounts estimating his body count could be as high as 133 or even 200. Many of these inaccuracies have persisted due to the combination of ineffective police investigation and hyperbolic yellow journalism of the period, which are often cited as historical record. Holmes gave various contradictory accounts of his life, initially claiming innocence and later that he was possessed by Satan. His propensity for lying has made it difficult for researchers to ascertain the truth on the basis of his statements. For example, he claimed that Dr. Robert Leacock, a fellow medical school classmate, was one of his first murder victims. In 1886, he killed for insurance money, when Leacock died on October 5, 1889, in Watford, Ontario, Canada. Holmes subsequently developed an obsession with death as a result of the encounter and later took up the pastime of dissecting animals. Holmes moved to Chicago in August 1886, which is when he began using the pseudonym H.H. Holmes. Soon after his arrival, he came across a drugstore at the northwest corner of South Wallace Avenue and West 63rd Street in the Englewood section of Chicago. The drugstore's owner, Elizabeth Holton, gave Holmes a job. He proved to be a hard-working employee, eventually buying the store. Contrary to several accounts, Holmes did not kill Dr. E.S. Holton. Holmes purchased an empty lot across the street where construction began in 1887 for a 2-story mixed-use building, with apartments on the 2nd floor and retail spaces, including a new drugstore, on the 1st. Holmes declined to pay the architects or the steel company, Aetna Iron and Steel. They took him to court in 1888. In 1892, he added a 3rd floor, telling investors and suppliers he intended to use it as a hotel during the upcoming World's Columbian Exposition. Contemporary accounts report that Holmes built the hotel to lure tourists visiting the exposition in order to kill them and sell their skeletons to nearby medical schools. Although he did have a history of selling stolen cadavers to medical schools, Holmes had acquired these wares through grave robbing rather than murder. Likewise, there is no evidence that Holmes ever murdered exposition goers on the premises. The yellow press labeled the building as Holmes's Murder Castle, claiming the structure contained secret torture chambers, trapdoors, gas chambers, and a basement crematorium. None of these sensationalized claims were true. It did contain some hidden rooms, but they were used for hiding furniture Holmes bought on credit and did not intend to pay for. In his confession, Holmes' usual murder method was by suffocation of his victims, including an overdose of chloroform, overexposure to lighting gas fumes, trapped in an airless vault to give some examples. Holmes also claimed to have used starvation and burning victims alive in his castle. Holmes's hotel was gutted by a fire started by an unknown shortly after his arrest, but was largely rebuilt and used as a post office until 1938. Besides his infamous murder castle, Holmes also owned a one-story factory which he claimed was to be used for glass bending. It is unclear if the factory furnace was ever used for this purpose. It was speculated to have been used to destroy incriminating evidence of Holmes's crimes. Holmes's murder spree finally ended when he was arrested in Boston on November 17, 1894, after being tracked there from Philadelphia by the private Pinkerton National Detective Agency. He was held on an outstanding warrant for horse theft in Texas because the authorities had become more suspicious at this point, and Holmes appeared poised to flee the country in the company of his unsuspecting third wife. In July 1895, Chicago police and reporters began investigating Holmes's building in Englewood, now locally referred to as the Castle. Though many sensational claims were made, no evidence was found which could have convicted Holmes in Chicago. There was only very circumstantial physical evidence of the Castle victims: a piece of human bone possibly from Julia Connor, remains of a child, possibly Pearl Connor, a burned gold watch chain and burned dress buttons apparently belonging to Minnie Williams, a tuft of human female hair found in a chimney flue. Holmes would be tried for the murder of Pitezel in Philadelphia, which had the clearest case for murder. In October 1895, Holmes was put on trial for the murder of Benjamin Pitezel, and was found guilty and sentenced to death. By then, it was evident Holmes had also murdered the 3 missing Pitezel children, following his conviction. Holmes confessed to 27 murders in Chicago, Indianapolis, and Toronto, and 6 attempted murders. Holmes was paid $7,500 by the Hearst newspapers in exchange for his confession, while writing his confessions in prison. Holmes mentioned how drastically his facial appearance had changed since his imprisonment. On May 7, 1896, Holmes was hanged at Moyamensing Prison for the murder of Pitezel. Until the moment of his death, Holmes remained calm and amiable, showing very few signs of fear, anxiety, or depression. Despite this, he asked for his coffin to be contained in concrete and buried 10 feet deep, because he was concerned grave robbers would steal his body and use it for dissection. Holmes's neck did not break. He instead strangled to death slowly, twitching for over 15 minutes before being pronounced dead. Every case has its own twists and turns, and we want to hear your thoughts and opinions. Do you have a favorite true crime story? Any theories on unsolved mysteries? Drop your comments below, like, share, and subscribe. Let's unravel the mysteries together. Your insights might just spark the next video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.